We have the one and only Chris Geiss, CEO, co-founder of Seguno, and Jonathan Zazove of Shopify, who are coming to us right now. Got some interesting things to talk about here, especially when it comes to Built for Shopify, the place and importance of apps to your store, how it affects all of the things. We need to welcome both of them inside of this show right now. Everybody welcome Chris Geiss, Jonathan Zazove. Gentlemen, get inside this show. Get in here.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, guys.
We have been looking forward to having both of you gentlemen here. Now, Chris, you have your usual brick background. First time for Jonathan to be with us, but all of those books make me think, Jonathan, that your IQ is like 200 plus. We are glad that you have joined us, and those books, they suit you well, my friend.
Thank you. I'm sure my IQ is not that high, so.
Nice.
I don't believe it because we know Shopify continues to ship continually ever up and to the right. Gentlemen, I would love for you guys just to start this off. Jonathan, I am just learning about this term built for Shopify. This is totally new for me. Man, I would love for you to just back up and give us a little background. Built for Shopify. What does that mean? Why is it important, especially for all of e-commerce inside of the Shopify ecosystem?
Yeah, for sure. So a while back, we did a really large audit of thousands and thousands of apps. And we found that quality is really bad. And we all know that merchants rely on apps to run their business. Yeah. So Shopify cares a lot about their merchants. And we really want to have them, a day focused on running their business and not, waiting for apps to load or trying to use apps with really bad usability, or worse, like losing data, having systems disconnected. And there's even and worse, which is there's experiences that the apps are creating are making their buyer experiences slow and broken. So there's a ton of actual cost, right? Sales that they're potentially losing out on. And then there's that hidden operational cost that they have to deal with, those thousands and thousands of paper cuts every day. And so what we decided to do is let's just start a program that just is the gold standard for apps at Shopify. And let's reward these high quality apps and make sure that it's easy for merchants to find them.
Wow.
Chris, I would hopefully think that maybe Seguno is a part of that program. Is that the case, Chris? I mean, I'm gonna have egg on my face if that's not the case, Chris. Is that the case?
That's a fair assumption. We've been essentially built for Shopify since day one, and then when this program came out, it was obvious, we had to kind of double down and get involved with that. And so, yeah, we try to preach the message of being built for Shopify and try to get more and more partners to do it because as the Mandalorian would say, this is the way.
Nice. Could you guys dive into this actual certification? What is the Built for Shopify certification? If I'm an app listening to this and I want to get to that next level, what do I have to do and what do I have to go through to actually get that certification?
Yeah, so we look at 3 pillars for an app: performance, design, and integration. So performance is really, hey, let's make sure that this app is fast for merchants and also for buyers. So, merchants don't want to spend their time waiting for software to load, just like all of us don't want to do that.
Fair.
And design is like, okay, again, I'm trying to run my business. I don't want to have to learn, this bespoke way of using an app. I don't want a manual. Nobody wants a help manual on how to use an app. They just want to use it right from the start. And so design is a big part of that experience where we've published design guidelines to let just apps follow that. So, and then the last one is probably the most complex. It's really around integration. And this is making sure that merchants have a complete picture of their store in one place. It can mean having data in the right place. It can mean that the merchant buyers have the best possible user experience as well. And so these 3 pillars is what we rely on. Within there's a number of requirements, but those are the pillars that we rely on. And so that way a merchant installs an app, they know, oh, these apps are going to meet these really important characteristics right off the way.
Yeah. That makes
You
a ton
know,
of sense.
I think for me, being from the buyer side, from
Yeah.
the app installer side, not on the app developer side, and not quite there with my skills as of yet. But a lot of times I don't know what to download and use. I just, I scour the app store. I hear like what my friends are using. I need this kind of particular use case. Basically, just look at features and pricing, and then we're rolling the dice, and we're going to give it a go, and hopefully things work out. Chris, I'd love you to take this first, and I'd love to hear from you as well, Jonathan. How should merchants be evaluating apps when what are things that we should have in our mind before we download, or as we evaluate? What should that process look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think Built for Shopify is obviously a good place to start. And so there's a great filter on the App Store as you're scouring through that you can click on to limit down to the BFS apps. So it's much easier to see those front and center. Support, I think, is critical for apps. And so digging into the rating and the reviews, really reading some of the reviews is super important. As always, you should see support through that. That's where support should definitely shine in addition to other things. The other thing I would say before kind of passing it to Jonathan is you should really be choosing the app that's right for your stage of business and one that can get you to that next stage at least. I see too often brands choosing an app that they think they'll never have to replace. So they choose the enterprise one that the big brands use because they think they'll never have to change systems as they grow. But the reality is those systems are designed for people that have big teams working on the tool itself, or an agency or something like that. And so you're stuck with this more complex tool that you don't actually take advantage of. So you're paying for 100% of this big tool when you're only using 10% of it. So I think it's really important to choose the tool that's right for your stage of business that helps you move faster.
That's a good point.
It's a great
point. Jonathan?
Yeah, I think what you're really trying to figure out as a merchant is like, does this app care, right? Just like Shopify cares a lot about merchants. And you're trying to find like, okay, I want to find an app that cares as much as Shopify. And so that's what you're really trying to find. And we think the BFS brand is basically trying to identify which of these apps care. And they care because they want your experience to be faster. They want your experience to be simpler and durable as it grows through the different stages, as Chris pointed out, of your business. And so apps need to be fast, easy to use. Apps need to follow design principles, no learning curve. They should be well integrated into buyer workflows with best practices. And so the Built for Shopify brand encapsulates all of that.
That's interesting.
I mean, so we're talking about apps right now. Obviously, you have to talk about app discovery. So what role will AI assistants like, a Sidekick play in that app discovery kind of ecosystem?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we're already surfacing app recommendations with the BFS badge inside our Sidekick experience, which is our AI assisted experience inside the Shopify product. And so that's already taking into effect a lot of unique context, including their store data, to make sort of personalized recommendations. But if it's going to list if an app is built for Shopify right in there, so you don't have to go back to another store and experience that. So that's integrated right into our AI product today.
That's incredible.
That's fascinating and smart. Very smart. Very smart. Especially there with Sidekick. Yeah, Chris, I would love to know on your side. I'd love to just know. I mean, because this is your whole world, brother.
Yeah.
Is this hard to do? In my mind, it's like it's easy to say. Oh yeah, like apps should be smooth and fast. Like don't make it laggy. It stinks when it's laggy and slow. But yeah. I can't imagine like keeping all of these things up, showing that kind of care via product and via service. I can't imagine like it's that easy. It's that easy to do. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What's your experience like as an app builder and a service offerer? Inside of the Shopify ecosystem.
It's definitely not easy, and that's the point, right? We want Shopify wants this program to be kind of the cream of the crop, and so it is a hurdle to get over. And then once you're over that hurdle, guess what? It's not over, because there's continual audits, there's annual reviews where they go deeper. They're keeping tabs on us and sending us emails once in a while, like, hey, you should change this, or hey, this needs to be different. So it's definitely a big thing. It's a huge investment, but I think it's the right one. And if you want to be seen as aligned with Shopify, aligned with the ecosystem, truly caring, like Jonathan said, this is the way that you do that.
Jonathan, I have heard of this little gathering called .dev.
Mhm.
And I think it's going down in something like 52 days, 10 hours, 38 minutes, and 37 seconds is what I have heard. Not that I'm tracking it or anything.
Yes.
But probably an exciting thing for everybody in our world, especially those in this realm of partnership and built for Shopify. Exciting, and we're going to be following it very closely. Gentlemen, anything else on built for Shopify before we get you guys out of here? I mean, I'm glad that I know about this now, because it truly does seem like a quality proxy for determining like what apps I should be using first.
Yeah, but the last thing I'll say is we created like a dedicated built for Shopify app guide in the App Store, and you can get there by going to shopify.com/BFS. And that will take you right there if you want to get started learning about the program and starting to discover apps that are built for Shopify. You can do that today.
That's
incredible.
Making it easy.
The last thing that I would dig into is on the integration side of things. So like Jonathan said, there's design, there's performance, and integration. And so there's varying levels of integration there. And so there's a certain level to meet BFS, but I think there's even more ways to go beyond that. And so I'm excited to see how the program evolves. But Shopify's been, pushing particular use cases or certain ways that you should integrate, especially for certain categories. And so that I think is a very important part of this. So that's, there's obviously the native user interface, the embedded workflows where you could be inside somewhere in the Shopify admin and you can surface your app right there when the user needs it. So whether you're on a contact page or a discount, you're looking, you're inside flow, segments, whatever it may be. So the ability to actually embed your app throughout the admin just makes for super smooth workflow. So users don't even have to jump into your app while they're trying to accomplish something. There's kind of the flip side with Intents that Shopify launched. So apps can now surface Shopify inside of their app. So you could be, trying to create something and the user may need to get a discount. So you're crafting an email, you want to include a discount. We can have a create discount button right there inside of Seguno, where it just brings up a modal, an intent here, where you can actually create a discount and then go right back to continuing to craft your email in Seguno. So the embedded workflows both ways is just super smooth and makes for an incredible experience. And then there's the centralized data, right? So the more you put your data back into Shopify as an app developer, the better it is for that merchant. And so that means everything becomes more powerful. Segmentation, workflows, discount targeting, storefront ability, data portability, everything just becomes magnified when you're centralizing your data inside of Shopify. And then you bring Sidekick into that mix, and now Sidekick can do far more than it could before. So those are kind of the three big things that I think about on the integration side. So, the best Shopify apps don't just add features, they reduce complexity. And BFS is a big part of that.
Bars from you, Chris. And I mean, it seems only appropriate to be talking all about this because Seguno has made such a big bet on Shopify and built everything to live inside where we all work and play every day. I love it, man. I love it. Hey, e-commerce runs on Shopify, and if you're going to be there, then you ought to be using Built for Shopify and all of those apps included. Gentlemen, we appreciate you guys joining us. We look forward to having you back, and I think everybody needs to go and check out these BFS certified apps and make sure that we're all headed up and to the right. Brett, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you back.